welcome to the 1976 Hardie Ferodo 1000 presentation. General Manager of Hardie Ferodo, Mr. George Hibbert.
1976 is our 9th year of sponsorship of Hardie Ferodo 1000. We've seen quite a few changes over those years. I'd like to take this opportunity of expressing very sincere and deep appreciation to the motor racing drivers.
We'll just try and be in touch with the leaders. Are you going to be concerned about the heavy and fast traffic in these opening laps?
No, I think it'll all sort itself out pretty good and pretty quickly.
Some of them are terrible. They're very dangerous, and I would hate to think there'd be a bad accident, but there's a distinct possibility there could be. I find them particularly good in this type of condition. When it's a little bit wet, a little bit breezy, they seem to be very consistent.
Any special plans for the day?
Try and win.
We're not worried about racing those other guys. We're racing 1,000 kilometres.
Yes, the most special plan of all, just to bring the car home at the end. And that means, I guess, a fair amount of sort of sensible applied driving, really.
Be there when the flag drops.
I should sort the men out from the boys, though, isn't it?
More than 2 million people watching this race through these 7 telecasts, which is going across Australia through the 7 network. Fastest yesterday, Alan Moffat on pole, Peter Brock alongside, Bond and Morris behind, Goss and Grice, Jansen and Bratton. Moffat, a little bit sideways there. Brock a bit slow, and it's Bond who goes through very quickly. All Grice making a big effort on the outside, but it's Moffat who's got the lead, first time into the first corner. Grice close to the fence. Field pouring through, 163 laps to go. Oh, there's the Capri sideways. There's Laurie Nelson. He's very vulnerable there. And back on the line, Jack Brabham can't get gears. He's stuck there groping for gears. You can see him. And all the inevitable shunt. The Mazda, John Duggan. Oh, another one, the Dolomite. John Delacker has hit Brabham. Oh, Delacker a bit stunned there in the Triumph. And Brabham, well, he has a look on his face of a man who's just ruined his comeback bid. At the top of the mountain. Still Moffat leads. Moffat, Bond, Brock.
I was a little bit worried that I might lose touch with the front runners, but I was with Brock. He was just in front of me. I was concerned because the track is wet and a lot of road grime coming on the windscreen. It's very difficult to actually see the edge of the circuit. It only takes one fellow to make a mistake and have a spin or a half lose and cause a major accident. And under these slippery conditions, it can be very major. So I'm not only worried and concerned myself, but I'm concerned for everybody else.
Got a slide there from Wayne Negus, the West Australian driving with great vigour. The rest of the field pouring through. A race for 4 classes, but all eyes are on the big class at the moment. These cars over 3 litres. Down the humps of Conrod Straight. First car to appear. Colin Bond almost alongside, going for a tighter line. It'll be interesting at the bottom of the corner. Bond taking a later line, and look, he's coming on the inside. Whether he can do it, I don't know, but it's a very hard, tight, almost rally line from Colin Bond. He's got a better go at it, though, and under acceleration, he's pulling away from Alan Moffat. Wayne Negus has moved up to 3rd place. Bobby Morris is 4th. Now it's Bond, Moffat, Negus, Morris, Brock. And Colin Bond opening up quite a gap as he goes thundering up through the top. Moffat's after him. Oh, a full 160 km/h slide there. Colin Bond applying a little correction to the front wheels. Over the top of the mountain. Moffat dropping back a bit. Bond really has a bit between his teeth. This is a race for sprinters. It may be over 1,000 kilometres, but they're going as though it's a 10-lap race. And Bond already on this, the second lap, has opened quite a long gap over Alan Moffat, the two great rivals in Australian motor racing. More than 160 miles an hour as Bond goes thundering down Conrod Straight. Just the two cars in sight. Braking very critical here. Moffat terribly confident of the brakes of the Falcon, closing up a bit as they come towards the closing stages of the straight, but going very, very quickly. And you can see how much ground Moffat has made up. He certainly has closed, although it is Bond with a fairly comfortable lead at the end of the second lap. And traffic heavy on the top of the mountain as the rest of the field comes filtering down through the S's. Bill McDonald, the find of the year in 2-litre racing in the Alpha GTV, one of the stars, or expected stars, of the 2-litre class, where some of the fiercest racing is expected and has already taken place.
I had only one go at passing Peter, and I found that he was going quickly enough. He wasn't holding me up anywhere. He was actually assisting me down the straight, and I decided to sit there with him. And what he actually did, he towed me up to Colin Bond. And once the three of us were together there, Brock wanted to go harder, and I felt that at that stage of the race we were going quite quickly enough, and I ran with Colin.
Doug Chivers slowing in the Capri he's sharing with Lacus Mandicus. Only a little more than a quarter of an hour of the race gone, and already one of the favourites for the 3-litre class seems to be out of it. He's certainly pulling to the side of the road. Yes, he can't make the pits. Bad luck for the veteran Sydney driver. He'd been sharing the lead with Barry Seaton and in the other Capri and Don Holland in the Mazda. Chivers having a look beneath the car either for parts that are dropping or oil, whatever it is, he's decided his terminal. He's going home. One thing about Doug, he certainly knows his way to the pits here at Bathurst. Oh, that's Max Stewart in all sorts of strife. I don't think he's done any damage to the car. He just missed the safety fence, not by skill, but by chance. But he certainly bogged on the grass and scuffing around on the far side of the track. It's the third of the four drivers, Murray Carter, the consistent Victorian. Peter Brock, last year's winner, slowing down. He's been held up on the straight for a little while. We think it may be petrol trouble, hard to tell. He was investigating the tank at the back and looking under the bonnet. Now he's creeping back to the pits. Almost put himself out of the race, though. He will get into the pit area, but losing a lot of time, maybe 5 minutes, in that disastrous stop at the top. Just signaling for fuel, that's all he wants. No more than petrol. Possible broken pickup point he's suggesting. Terrible luck for Peter Brock.
Well, Gossie was just behind us, and I didn't see him at the start. He was somewhere in the Schmozzle, not one of my better starts, unfortunately. But once we got going, he wasn't a problem.
But Goss, who was backing him up, is now coming into the pits. I hope it's not the transmission trouble that did plague him in practice yesterday. New Zealander Jim Richards preparing to take over from Goss. Goss hasn't thought about getting out of the car now, gets the reminder, and out he gets. A very formidable combination, this. He has to enlist John Goss's help, asking conditions about the track, what's happening out there, how's the car performing. The West Australian recruit to the Holden dealer team, Wayne Negus, adjusting the seat for his very differently proportioned co-driver, Charlie O'Brien from Queensland. Both having their first outing in the second Holden dealer team car, running under fairly strict team orders. Goss is away. Harry Firth getting a report as Charlie O'Brien takes the car out from the pit stop. Oh, a touch up on top of the mountain. Things are pretty hectic among these smaller cars. Murray Carter mixed up among them there and having a pretty...
Bryce caught up. He was trying very hard. Past both of us, we let him through. There wasn't any holding up. We let him through, and he started to get a bit more erratic. He was dropping wheels off the edge and looked a little bit dangerous. And the last thing I wanted to do was for him to have a lose in front of us, because he could have taken the three of us out of the race. So when Colin and I had a bit of a chat to each other, and we decided that we'd go past him if we could, and I got a tow from Colin down the straight. Used a few more revs than I would normally, and passed both of them.
Bond into the pits. First scheduled stop. Tyres being investigated. They may change them. They have time. They can change all tyres if need be while fuel is being added. The pits tell us that the mangled Mazda of John Duggan involved in that first lap shunt is back in the race, but with almost no water in the radiator, going pretty well though out in the track. On the road, Bond's leading Moffat, but the actual race order is Moffat and then Bob Morris. Neither of those drivers, of course, have made a pit stop yet. Bond is now third, ahead of Alan Grice, with Peter Jansen in fifth place. Moffat into the pits for his first stop. So this will put him out of the lead. A very critical stop for the Ford driver. Vern Schuppen waiting on the right to take over. His first ever run here at Bathurst. Moffat's not just handing over, he's almost running away, going a long way from the car. Been under a lot of tension and strain, Alan Moffat, in the months preceding this race. Had his race car destroyed by fire, had to build up a new car, investment of about another $50,000. Lost $150,000 in the fire. Another can full of BP in the back. Tyres are being tightened up. Final nip on a nut. And Vern Schuppen goes out. That was a quick pit stop. That certainly is enough to keep Moffat well and truly in contention for the race. Oh, 32. Once again, this is a bad race for this Capri. It was Laurie Nelson who was hit on the very first lap on the first corner. And now Nick Louis has taken over, and he has put the car well and truly out of the race. And paradoxically, it was car 32's 32nd lap. Nick Louis being told to get over the fence. We'll have time to look at the damage a little later, but the Capri is well and truly out. And still among the smaller cars, there's the big Ford of Murray Carter, being signalled by one of the Honda drivers. Honda's going well in the small car class, which side he should pass on. A little confusion as to which way to go, or which way to look. The 2-litre class with 25 entries, the most fiercely contested, and something of a surprise with the South Australian Escort, the old model, of Eric Board and Tom Timmins leading the more fancied Alphas and Triumph Dolomite Sprints. Well, here's an unscheduled stop. It's Charlie O'Brien in, only been out for about 30 minutes. He's brought the second of the Marlborough Holden dealer team cars into the pits. It's overheating problems. Mechanics struggling with the radiator cap. Oh, yes, there are signs of a real boil there.
Coming to the end of the straight on one lap, I was going to overtake a Mazda, and he was obviously going to the pits. And he called me past, or I thought he'd call me past, and I thought he'd let me turn normal line because there was oil in the middle of the track. And just at the last minute, he didn't brake as much as I thought he was going to do, so he got the line. So I had no option but to turn right down the escape road because I didn't want to go on the oil.
A great deal of work has resulted in Sterling Moss bringing out the Tirana that he and Jack Brabham are sharing. They've lost more than 3 hours grafting on a new tail in the car, damaged on the start line when Brabham tried to select gear, got 2 gears at once and was rammed in the tail by another car. Brabham had a fairly brief excursion onto the track once the car got going, and Moss now having his first run here at Bathurst. Hasn't driven since his terrible accident at Goodwood in England in 1962. A very important race for him. Talking to Sterling Moss, you get the impression this means a lot. He wants to do well at his much-vaunted comeback, and must be a very disappointed man to have had all chance of success taken away, but he's driving around the track now and at least keeping faith with the Australian public and showing what the former golden boy of motor racing can do out on the circuit. But meeting with the crowd's encouragement, Sterling Moss hustling the car so hard that it gives signs of falling apart with the tail beginning to shake loose. The man with the incredible record of having won 1 in every 4 races he ever contested. Moffat at this stage has a 22-second lead over Colin Bond. The position is certain to change with a whole series of pit stops about to occur, for most of the second scheduled series of stops. Alan Moffat brings the car into the pits. certainly losing the lead during this stop. Some signs of anxiety. Peter Malloy in the cap on the right, who's the engine builder, a little concerned. You can see steam coming from the side. There's some problem there. The man who was coming second, Bobby Morris, now brings the car into the pits, or it's John Fitzpatrick, rather, who's been driving for Bob Morris on the outside there, helping Fitzpatrick out. Fitzpatrick, a former European GT champion, a real specialist in long-distance racing.
Basically, he didn't have any worries. That's the thing that you say when you're changing over. You tell your co-driver what's happening with the car and what's happening with the track, and really everything was just like new.
Tomorrow. The last day, 27, the lucky number in terms of winning Bathurst. The same age with Colin Bond, John Goss, Peter Brock have all won Bathurst. Bobby Morris would love to win and celebrate his last day of being 27 with success here at Mount Panorama.
Change of right-hand front tyre. That were going to be our routine and planned stop. On top of this, we had some oil surge, which was completely unexpected because we hadn't experienced it in practice.
Everything under control, even though it does seem rather slow. Peter Brock goes by, and that'll put him now, despite the trouble he had with petrol, it was a broken pickup pipe, in second spot. So goodness knows where Peter Brock might be, but for the 5 minutes he lost out on the main straight. In the meantime, Bobby Morris away. John Goss, car into the pits. Man who won in 1974 with Kevin Bartlett, running with New Zealander Jim Richards this time. Alan Moffat, engine problems here, broken up fully is the information we have from the pits. Let the fan belt go, caused overheating. They suspect he's blown a head gasket. As far as the other Falcon is concerned, a bad time for the Fords. It's transmission again for John Goss. Charlie O'Brien and Wayne Negus. Car jacked up, the second of the Holden dealer team cars. A quick check of the right-hand front tyre to see whether it's needed to be changed. A slick, of course, in dry weather. You've got to check the depth marks to see how the tyre is wearing. No tread to give them a handy guide. Charlie O'Brien, the young, vigorous, up-and-coming driver from Queensland. Wayne Negus from Western Australia, bouncy, full of confidence and enthusiasm, and would love to make his mark here with a really good performance. Very despondent John Goss there talking to Jim Richards. Negus away in the second of the dealer team cars. Kevin Bartlett taking over from Peter Jansen. Running well. They had a few moments early, but they're pulling their way through the field. And out of the race, by the look of it, is Alan Moffat. A sad scene. A man who lends so much to the Mount Panorama atmosphere, being wheeled away into the dead car park. Claude Beaumont and John Leffler drove this car to class success in the 2-litre category last year. Now it's in the hands of Peter Werrett, driving with David Jones for the Pye Racing Team. Oh, there's a bit of careless parking there. Ron Gillard or Graham Harrison, the Victorian driver, sharing with Ron. Just a bit of a spin there, got the car underway once more. Very keen contest being waged for the 2-litre class. More cars in any other category. Gillard bringing the Alpha GTV. There are other Alphas, the Alpettas. The older model, Werrett here, really hustling on the top of the mountain, going well for Pye. There's now Eric Board in the escort leading from Phil McDonald, another Alpha, and Peter Werrett running third in the class in this GTV Alfa Romeo. This should be the final pit stop for the Hodgson car.
I get in the car again, and Bob says basically everything's still good. The whole car is still good. There's a little bit of debris on the track where the Triumph's gone off, of just past the dipper, I think it was. And he said, apart from that, the car's good. So I then knew that we got the car in good condition for those last 40 laps. And I then thought I'd really have to go to catch Bond, because he was a lap and about 30 seconds up.
Ron Hodgson car out in second spot, behind Colin Bond. Oh, and here's Bond coming into the pits. Fuel going in, the mechanics head through the door to see what Colin wants. A very important stop this, the final scheduled stop for Bond. Now he has the lead. If he can get out on schedule, he'll still be in front. Fitzpatrick's out there and circulating. Oh, Bond's away. He's still in the lead. There's no loss of time there. You're then Bond, Morris, Brock, O'Brien, Bartlett, Skelton, Carter, Forbes. They're the leading 8. Bond won this race back in 1969 in the Monaro. He hasn't won it since. He's won just about every other major title in Australia, and he'd love to win at Bathurst, and it looks as though he's going to. The race, in fact, is now settling into the traditional pattern of Bathurst, starting to become a fairly predictable race. Oh, Gillard in 41's in strife again, and the Clemens Alfetta just scrapes by. That's the second incident for car 41 today. He had a spin earlier and was parked on the grass. Traffic's a bit of a problem for the faster cars. John Goss back out the circuit, but a hopeless cause. Lost too much time in the pits, but still pressing on to give Ford some sort of result. Colin Bond with John Fitzpatrick inside. The cars are separated by almost a lap, so Fitzpatrick has almost a hopeless task, driving very hard, picking up ground on Colin Bond. It's quite a remarkable race, but it'll need some real trouble as far as Bond's car was concerned for Fitzpatrick to catch him. Bond down through the S's. He's going slower. He has some sort of trouble. Bond definitely has slowed down. Quite remarkably, and Fitzpatrick is overhauling him as he goes past Barry Seaton, who's leading the 3-litre class. Fitzpatrick really overhauling Bond hand over fist. Bond must be in some sort of real trouble. Into the pits. This is not a scheduled stop. Colin Bond has brought the car in. It's under the bonnet. It's engine trouble he's got of some sort. Now, we saw the Wayne Negus Charlie O'Brien car earlier overheating. Whether it's the same sort of problem. He's certainly boiling there. Information from the pits. It's a fan belt gone. A broken fan belt. Something as simple as that. Colin Bond, who wants to win this race and hasn't won it since 1969, may be thwarted because John Fitzpatrick is taking his car past into the lead. Oh, and Murray Carter bringing to a miserable close, a fairly miserable story as far as Ford is concerned. The only surviving competitive Falcon with Alan Moffat out and John Goss having lost too much time with transmission troubles. Murray Carter expiring in a cloud of smoke. And so now it's Fitzpatrick in front, and the race, which seemed to be following a definite pattern, has been turned upside down, and it's the Ron Hodgson entry in front, and Colin Bond, fan belt replaced, in hot pursuit. But can he catch up? He's got almost a lap to make up, and that's probably too much. The battered procession of cars precedes Bond in his great bid to try and catch up. Oh, we've got smoke. There's no doubt the leading car, John Fitzpatrick, in the leading car is trailing smoke. He's in trouble. And now we have an ailing car in the lead, and Colin Bond being given the hustle sign. Well, who's going to win Bathurst? Your guess is as good as mine.
Suddenly, there's no drive, just as if the clutch started to slip. So I immediately thought gearbox or clutch, and then I found out that it was still in gear. Going over the top of the mountain, I found that I'd got drive on left-hand corners, but no drive on the right-hand corners. Oh, and there was a smell. I could smell the differential oil. My immediate reaction was, well, that's it. I probably won't get round.
3 laps from the finish, I went to a TV monitor, and I was looking at John negotiating the top of the circuit, and I saw the smoke coming from the rear of the car. My heart sank, and when he came past, it was smoking badly, and all we could do was wave him on. There's no point stopping, because a stop would have lost us the race. Bond, of course, his car was off a little bit, but he was still going very fast, and he was catching up at a tremendous rate. He just kept going around, the smoke kept getting worse, the tension kept getting worse. When he got to Skyline, we knew it was downhill. We won.